Hey everyone, this is Jono from Veracity with another video in my video series. This one on visualizing assessment and quiz data. I will mention this is probably the last video for now in a series on something called CMI interactions. If you're interested in what you see here as far as the visualizations go later, the last 4 or 5 videos are important information that show you how to structure data in a specific way, really according to the xAPI specification. And if you do all that stuff in the way shown in the last videos, all this visualization stuff today that we're going to go through will just work as expected. Okay, so I'm going to go right into a demo today. So I'm going to test LRS. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, and I'm just viewing some statements here. One of the things I want to do is I want to show you some examples of the data just so you can kind of see some of the things that we talked about in the last videos, and then I'll get into some of the visualizations, what they look like. Some folks have trouble finding the answers to questions and figuring out how to get them on the screen, so I'm going to show you one way to do that. So the first thing is I'm going to use my little spread operator here by the verb to show all the verbs we have in the system. And you can see we have a bunch. The one I'm looking for, my question responses are using this responded verb. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. All right, great. So now here's all of basically the statements that have the responded verb. You can see these are all different questions. This is all just sample data. In fact, a lot of the questions are just nonsense, but it'll give you the idea. I want to go a little further than this. So although we're looking at questions, I want to know what kind of questions. You'll remember the interaction type from maybe 2 videos ago. So I'm going to add that. I'm going to add the object definition, interaction type. And now we've got, basically what interaction type, what question type this is a response to. Again, check out the previous videos. I'll put them in the description for information on what this is and where it comes from and what the values are. Okay, so this is how you find your question data. Sometimes people use an answered verb, so you might need to use that. But really, if you know the verb and then you look for the interaction type or the object definition type would be CMI interaction. That's a couple different ways that you can kind of narrow in on your questions. So let's take a look at one of these. I'm just going to go down and just kind of pick let's pick a random multiple choice. So this question 20. And I'm going to focus not really on the verb or anything like that. I'm going to focus on our object. So our object has an ID. Let me make it a little bit bigger too. Let's see. There we go. All right. So let me get a highlighter. Our object has this ID. This is the question that's being answered. The name of it is question 20. The description is the question text. We've talked about that. The correct responses. So this is a choice question and 2 of the answers are correct. ID 58230 and 69741. We can see that it's a multiple choice interaction by that data point. And then you can see all of the choices we had. There are 3 of them on the questions. And we know from above that, this one and this one are correct because these IDs are listed in the correct response pattern. And then our user's response was right here. Our user chose all 3. They clicked each of them because we have every ID with our special delimiter. Again, plug for the previous videos. We talk about this format and how it works. And success is false. In other words, they didn't get this question right. So yeah, that's a pretty complete example of how a multiple choice question works. Let's just look at one other type. Let's go with matching. So this, again, will look pretty similar to the samples that we had. Here's the ID of the question. Our name of it is question 25. The description is the question text. The correct response is this ID matched with this ID and this ID matched with this ID. So what do I mean by that? Well, this is a matching question. There are things in the source list two of them. Again, these are nonsense, but you get the idea. This word and this word, and then there is a target list. They're to be matched with this or this. So basically our correct answer matches 78622 with 79443. So these two are matched together and these two are matched together, and that's the correct answer. If we look down a bit further, we can see that our learner did indeed map those things together. They mapped 78622 to 7943 and 3712 to 79546. And because of that, success is true. They got the answer right. So there you go. We could spend a lot of time showing examples. I don't want to do that. I want to get a little bit more into the visualizations. So let's hop in to another example, but it gives you an idea. What I could do is with any one of these questions, there's a little graph icon by the question. If I click that, it's going to open a pane that looks like, let me get there, this. So now we're in the dashboard platform. We're looking at a specific question. In this case, I clicked on question 31. So that's what I'm looking at. When I scroll down, I can see that question 31 is part of this thing. Our exam is called heptachord, and it has multiple questions in it. But anyway, we're looking at question 31. This happens to be a fill-in question. So everybody's answers are a little bit different. The question is, what's the craziest conversation you've ever heard? And then we can kind of see we had a couple responses here, 5 responses, and what they look like. So anyway, that's a good way to look at a single question. But if you want to see what all of the question types look like, and to make this a bit more useful, if I go up a level and I click on heptachord, which is our assessment, this is done via a parent context activity. Again, check out my videos on how to do hierarchy and structure using context activities. But now you can see we've picked this thing called heptachord is an assessment. And if I scroll down, you can see in my Activity Explorer that there are just many questions that are part of this. And if I keep scrolling, we'll render all of them. So, a good example is question 13 is a true and false question. The correct answer is false. And then our breakdown is 40% answered true, 60% of people answered false. So we're getting kind of a test item analysis on the choice questions. This was a multiple choice question. Here were all of the different answers available. Brable's was the correct answer. And then this is the breakdown of answers on the question. And you can see we have this for multiple choice questions, but we also get into numeric questions, Likert, true, false. Eventually we'll get into matching and sequencing and performance. Here's what a sequencing looks like, the different ways these things were put together. You see all the paths. Multiple select choice questions where you can pick more than one thing and how that renders. So a matching, here are the different things and the way they were matched together. So we have visualizations for all the common CMI interaction types. You don't have to do anything to get these except structuring your data as defined in the last 4 videos and the examples that we just showed. When you do that, you'll automatically get these graphs. When you're looking at a question, you'll get a graph that looks like one of these questions. If you are looking at an assessment that is a parent context activity like heptachord, you'll get all of the questions rendered on a dashboard for you. So it's really convenient if you're using this question type. We do get some questions about, my authoring tool will track questions, but it's not in this format. How do I get graphs like this? The answer is it depends. It depends on the author or the authoring tool format that is exported. You might be able to get graphs like this, but it's going to take some manual effort, and there'll be a case-by-case basis if it's done in a way that is different than documented in the xAPI standard. So you might still be able to work with it, but if you can, I recommend using what we talked about in the last 4 or 5 videos as your data format, because then you get all this stuff right out of the box. It just works for you. All right, I think we're going to go ahead and call it today, and probably for this mini sub-series here in the video series on CMI interactions. Hope you found this helpful. A lot of people do interactions, CMI interactions. So if you have the ability to get in line with the rules we just set forth in the last couple of videos, please do so. All right, if you enjoyed this video, please click the thumbs up or subscribe. Thanks for watching and have a good one.